Imagine standing before a city so vast, so powerful, that it feels like the center of everything that exists. The air is warm and heavy, carrying the scent of earth, water, and distant fires. Before you rise enormous walls stretching across the horizon, broken only by towering gates and watchful guards. This is Babylon. At its height, it is the largest city on earth. Hundreds of thousands of people live within its boundaries, their lives woven together in a place that dominates the ancient world. From fertile lands between great rivers to distant trade routes stretching across continents, everything leads here. At the heart of this empire rules a king whose ambition reshaped the city itself. Under his command, Babylon became more than a capital. It became a symbol of human achievement. Brilliant blue structures shine in the sunlight. Temples rise toward the sky. Massive buildings stand as proof that this civilization has mastered organization, engineering, and control. But this is not the story of kings or gods alone. This is the story of ordinary life, of waking up in this city, of walking its streets, of surviving within its systems. Today, we follow one full day in Babylon, from the first light of dawn to the silence of night. Not the legends, but the reality. Before the sun fully rises, the city is already awake. A faint light spreads across the flat land of Mesopotamia. Slowly, shapes emerge from darkness, and at the center of it all flows the Euphrates River. It divides the city, but more importantly, it sustains it. Without this river, Babylon would not exist. Its waters are thick and brown, carrying life and danger at the same time. It feeds crops, enables trade, and supports daily survival, but it can also flood without warning and destroy everything in its path. Along the banks, the first movements of the day begin. Small round boats drift across the surface. Fishermen cast their nets, hoping for a catch that will feed families or be sold in the markets. Nearby, people move carefully down to the water. Clay jars in hand, they collect what they need for the day. There are no systems to bring water into homes. Every drop must be carried manually. Farther out, fields stretch across the land. Barley and wheat grow in carefully maintained plots. Date palms rise above them, and irrigation channels guide water where it is needed most. This land is fertile, but only because of constant effort. The rivers here are unpredictable. Too much water destroys crops. Too little leads to famine. So the people of Babylon have built canals, levees, and controlled pathways to manage the flow. But these systems require constant attention. If they fail, everything fails. As the sun rises higher, the city comes alive. Voices grow louder, movement increases. Babylon is no longer waking, it is fully alive. As you move toward the inner city, you see a structure that dominates everything around it. A massive gate, rising high above the ground, covered in deep blue glazed bricks that shine under the sunlight. This is the Ishtar Gate. Its surface is decorated with powerful symbols, lions, bulls, and dragons arranged in perfect rows. These are not just decorations, they represent strength, protection, and divine authority. The scale of the gate makes you feel small. Guards stand watch as people pass through. Every person is seen, every movement is noticed. You step forward with the crowd and pass beneath it. And just like that, the world changes. Inside, the city opens up.
A wide stone road stretches ahead, the processional way. Tall walls line both sides, decorated with repeating images of lions. This road leads toward the religious center of Babylon and serves as the main path for major ceremonies. Today, it is filled with ordinary movement. Merchants, workers, travelers, all moving with purpose. You hear different languages spoken around you. Babylon is not isolated. It is connected to distant regions across the known world. This is where those worlds meet. As you continue walking, the sound becomes louder and more chaotic. You have reached the marketplace. This is where Babylon shows its true power, not through monuments, but through trade. Stalls line the streets, each displaying goods brought from distant lands, metals, textiles, precious stones, spices. Everything here has traveled far to arrive. Babylon itself lacks many natural resources, but it controls the trade routes that connect regions across vast distances. That control makes it wealthy. Merchants negotiate constantly. Goods are exchanged, prices debated, deals made. There are no coins. Instead, silver is weighed carefully to determine value. Scales are used to measure exact amounts. Precision is everything. For smaller exchanges, people trade goods directly, grain for tools, fish for cloth. But larger transactions require accuracy, and accuracy requires records. Near the market, you find a scribe. He sits with a lump of wet clay and a simple reed stylus. You approach because you need something formal, a loan. You are borrowing barley for planting season and will repay it after the harvest. The scribe listens carefully. Every detail matters. He presses the stylus into the clay, creating wedge-shaped marks. This is cuneiform writing. You cannot read it, but he can. He records names, amounts, and conditions. Nothing is left uncertain. Then a small carved cylinder is rolled across the surface, leaving a unique pattern. This acts as a signature. The tablet is left to dry. Once hardened, it becomes permanent. If the agreement is broken, the record remains. Babylon depends on these records. Contracts, marriages, property deals, everything is documented. This creates order, a system where people know their obligations and consequences. As the heat of the day intensifies, you move toward a quieter area near the palace. There, something unusual appears. Layers of greenery rising upward, terraces filled with plants, trees, and flowing water. If they truly exist, these are the hanging gardens. An extraordinary idea, a man-made landscape rising above a dry city. Water must be lifted to each level, possibly through mechanical systems or human labor. Some believe they were built to recreate the environment of distant lands. Others question whether they existed at all. But whether real or imagined, they represent something important. The belief that nature can be shaped, that even in harsh conditions, beauty can be created. As the sun begins to lower, your attention shifts to the largest structure in the city, the ziggurat, a massive stepped tower rising toward the sky. It dominates the skyline, visible from almost anywhere. This is a sacred place, a connection between earth and the divine. At its top sits a shrine, accessible only to the highest-ranking priest. Below, rituals are already taking place. Offerings are brought, food, drink, and animals. Priests move with precision, performing actions that have been repeated for generations. These rituals are not symbolic, they are necessary. The people believe that maintaining order in the world depends on honoring the gods. If the rituals stop, balance could be lost, and with it, everything. As darkness begins to fall, attention shifts upward. On rooftops, priests observe the sky. They track the movement of the moon, stars, and planets. They record patterns on clay tablets. Over time, they have learned to predict certain events, eclipses, planetary movements. These observations form the basis of early astronomy. But for them, it is more than science. It is communication. The sky sends messages, signs that must be interpreted. A sudden change in the heavens might signal danger, especially for the king. The priests study carefully, searching for meaning. Their work blends observation with belief, creating a system that influences real decisions.